In this video, we will be going over our intermediate level stances. Again, to say stance in Japanese is DACHI. So the first stance we're going to cover in this video is called the hook stance, or KAGE DACHI. For most of our students, the first time they'll see this stance is in the form one-su, and there's a couple little things to keep in mind when doing this stance. So first thing we're going to do, our lead foot will be straight ahead in the direction that our center line will be facing. Then the rear foot will come behind it, and you'll put the rear knee on top of the front calf and rest in. Now, the back foot, the big toe does not come much past the heel of the front foot. And that allows you to keep your hips square, knees safe, and shoulders facing your target. Now, to see that from the side, I have one foot forward, my rear foot comes behind, and I settle, and I sink into my stance. And one area this will look familiar, like I said before, is in the one-su kata, where we would step, come behind, and then execute our low back fist. That is KAGE DACHI, hook stance. Now the next stance we're going to cover is cat stance, or NEKO ASHI DACHI. Now, much like KAGE DACHI, the hook stance, for our students, most of the time, the first time they'll see this stance is when they are learning one-su kata. Unless for our older students, our adults, when you start learning taizus, you'll see this stance. Now, the way this stance is executed, your lead foot is pointed straight ahead to where your target is. Now, it lines up with the back foot big toe. Now, the back foot is going to be angled at 45 degrees. Now, once I'm here, and this is a short stance, I'm going to sink my weight and lift my front heel and really sink into my stance. Now, the weight distribution in this stance is 90% of my weight will be on the rear leg and 10% on the front leg. Again, it's a sinking stance. NEKO ASHI DACHI, cat stance. Now, again, to see it from the side, my lead foot is pointed straight ahead. My back foot is turned 45 degrees. My heels are in a straight line with each other, but my back foot, the big toe, is even with the heel. Now, I sink, heel up, and this is my cat stance. And a lot of times you'll see it with the shoe toe pointed towards your target. So that is the cat stance, or NEKO ASHI DACHI. Now, in the basic video, we talked about KIBA DACHI as one of your first 5 basic stances. KIBA DACHI is a horse stance. Now, with horse stance, when you first learn it, we do it facing straight ahead, and we use it as a great way to build strength in our legs, create a foundation, and practice our punches and our blocks. Now, there is a practical use to our horse stance, but it's usually not straight ahead. We have a couple of variations of this form. The first one I'm going to talk about is called a side stance, or YOKO DACHI. YOKO DACHI. From there, it's my horse stance, but I'm turned at 90 degrees. My shoulders are pointed away, but my nose and eyes are towards my target, as well as my hands. So once again, the weight is distributed 50-50 from side to side. My weight rolling to the outside of my feet. Toes gripping the earth, and hands are up. This is side stance, or YOKO DACHI. It's a great place to throw our side kicks. So that's one variation of the KIBA DACHI, the horse stance. The next is what we call a HANMAE KIBA DACHI, or a half-facing horse stance. So whereas the full YOKO DACHI is at 90, think of 45 degrees. So if you were in a square room and standing in the center, my center line is pointed to the corner of the room. Again, my weight is pushing to the outside edges of my toes are gripping the ground, and my knees are pressing out, with my hands straight